Wewe Duale, tunakuambia hapa Brook, rudisha pesa ya NYS.
Usipo nyamaza hii mkutano itakwisha.
Kuna maneno hiyo. Uza kutisha hapa na maneno kidogo ati mkutano itaisha. Mkutano ya nani itaisha?
There was no way I was going to contest on a Jubilee nomination. William Ruto would just take the ticket like he did for Kabogo.
Mimi nataka wabunge wawe mawaziri. Ndio wawe kwa kanisa. I don't meet any minister these days in church.
He once described himself as a man who charts his own path. And to a large extent, history bears out a man whose rebellious streak started in his days at the University of Nairobi, where he was the vice chairman of the powerful students' union, SONU, and the number 2 of the famed but late Tito Adungosi, the student leader that died in jail in the aftermath of the 1982 coup attempt. He was later to join elective politics and getting appointed to the cabinet, only for President Daniel Arap Moi to drop him and literally abandoning him on an airport tarmac in South Africa. Isack Ruto found life in the opposition benches and famously orchestrated the Kalenjin walkout, or among the orchestrators of the Kalenjin walkout from ODM over the Mau Forest evictions. Highs and lows have characterized the path charted by Isack Ruto, the former governor of Bomet, whose risk-taking exploits cost him the seat in the Jubilee Party-dominated Bomet County. After the defeat in 2017, Isack Ruto kept a low profile until recently he burst into the scene with forceful assertions that the current structure of an elected cabinet ministers is a disaster. And he actually said, "Who knows these cabinet secretaries?" I'll quote him there. And well, he's here tonight to answer and hopefully not ask questions. Thank you so much for making time for us tonight, Honorable Isack Ruto. A quick sample again at some few tweets here. We have Duncan Rotich. Kindly touch on Punguza Mzigo. We no longer have enough money as Kenyans to pay more civil servants who contribute nothing to this nation. Wakenya wanaumia. Okay. And son of Mao says, tired of the Mao evictions and the ever imminent threat of eviction. Sure, he wants you to comment on that. Collins Rono, the rebel who committed a political suicide back in the year 2017. You only live once. Sure, he still has a lot of years ahead of him, especially politically. We'll talk about that. Kiprotich Renato, CCM as a party advocated for devolution units empowerment. Should the same be rekindled as a constitutional amendment move or as part of MOU with whichever alliance the party will join? All right, keep texting us and using the hashtag Newsnight on Twitter. Godri Barazawere, Isack Ruto remains to be the most sober politician and leader who is not afraid to speak his mind. His comeback is timely considering that the Kipsigis domain needs a spokesperson and his take on 2022 politics will be quite key. Which wave is he, that is Honorable Isack Ruto, riding? Again, the hashtag is Newsnight on Twitter. Text us also on 22422. Thank you again, Honorable Isack Ruto, for making time for us tonight.
Thank you very much.
It's great to see you after a long time.
Thank you.
I'll start with some of these questions here, and especially on the issues about referendum, or lack of it, and the issues about Punguza Mzigo and BBI. Of course, BBI has not said there'll be a referendum, but everybody thinks that's what will happen. We'll wait to see. Either way, your movements and company lately have raised eyebrows, and I'll come to that. First, a story in the Star newspaper recently referred to you and others as among the point men or women that Honorable Raila Odinga will use to campaign for a referendum. How true is this?
First of all, we are not aware of any referendum that is in the offing. But certainly, I would support certain constitutional amendments. And I will request you to look at what I said way back in 2014, 2015, 2016, up to 2017. I believe certain aspects of this constitution need to be refined. For example, we made a major blunder to bring in a pure presidential system of government and to remove members of parliament from the cabinet and also to take away ministers from parliament. We also made several other mistakes in this constitution that need to be addressed, like the division of revenue. Look at what it is causing now to Kenyans. The division of revenue is left to the whims of the National Assembly and the executive at the national level. The county governments play very little role. And as of now, you see governors are just crying all over. Everybody's on strike. They cannot afford to give us medical care. They cannot afford to do almost. And
you have been there, especially as the COG chair.
Yes.
I mean, how different would you have handled it today? And where do you think the problem is? Who should be blamed for what's happening?
The real issue is that we have got to put this thing very clearly inside the constitution, so that it is not at the whims of the National Assembly. As of now, there is little governors can do if the National Assembly becomes adamant like they are trying to be. I am very grateful to see Senate trying to do their real job. This particular batch of senators seem to understand their role, protecting the counties and serving the interests of the counties, and understanding that they are there to represent the people at the grassroots.
So you would want a clearer role in the law for governors?
Yes.
What exactly?
First of all, it's the division of revenue. It should be very clear in the constitution that not less than 40% of the revenues collected last year, I want to put it in simple language,
not
less than 35% of the preceding year, as audited by the controller, the Auditor General, as certified by the Auditor General as revenues collected. Give them 30 to 40%. And let me tell you this, that doesn't mean we are sharing the budget. You see, the budget is just an imaginary figure of 2 trillion. And they don't even know where they're going to get the money. We are talking about how much did they collect last year. If they collected 1.2 trillion, then talk of 30% of that 1.2 trillion. Give the counties 350 or 400. According to what you collected last year, not this year, not projected revenues. And that is why it should be protected
so
by
somehow we still have this stalemate clearly from today. I mean, we're hoping the mediation team will do something. But
Yes.
I mean, how would you propose, like, the way forward? What should happen now? Because they're still sticking to their guns and they're supporting the senators in what they're doing.
You see, look at it this way. Then the Ministry of Health, like the Senator of Narok aptly put it. They are keeping 90% of the budget. What are they doing with it? And 90% of healthcare is actually devolved. And then you start bashing governors for not delivering healthcare. Yet all the money is still kept by the Ministry of Health. And they will keep dishing that money to projects that don't even serve anybody. What are they doing? Remember when devolution came on board, there were 350 doctors who were at Afia House. So we kept asking them, whom are they treating? We knew that the 2 ministers were not quite well. But the point was, do you need 350 doctors around you? Send them to Mashinani. Let them go to the villages and treat people.
You talked about amendments to the law. One of the issues you're saying, of course, is cabinet secretaries to come from Parliament.
Yes.
I mean, there's the issue of separation of powers, and this is actually the very essence as to why Constitution preferred appointed ministers as opposed to them being drawn from Parliament. So how will that work?
There is no separation of powers even as of now. Look at what the MPs are doing with CDF. They are doing development work. Whose development work is that? That should be the preserve of the executive. Right. But MPs are busy with the development even as of now. The separation of powers doesn't mean that the people's representatives should be kept away from the running of government. Who are these people you have put as cabinet secretaries? They have no idea what the feelings are on the ground.
How would you know?
We have seen that. I lived there. I have lived there.
We all assume these are competent people appointed to come and work for government and to deliver on the mandate for.
Let them be appointed as permanent secretaries, as competent people.
Why would you assume that only MPs would be competent to do this job?
No, the MPs must provide the link with the people. This is a government of the people and for the people, by the people of the people.
Okay, so you have, for example, an MP who has been appointed. We've seen this. Who has been appointed a minister.
Yes.
I mean, he or she can favor his or her constituency in
even
her
this
docket.
one can still do the same. Look at how they are messing up with money. The point I'm saying here is there should be representation. There should be a connection between government and the people.
And these ministers right now are not. Where are they from? Not Kenyans. They come from people.
They are
from
permanently in
Muthaiga,
and on Saturday they go to their private clubs. If you go
of course you cannot
to the villages and check, these fellows are completely unknown. We were better off. Let me tell you, the minister, the CS, should be the political head of a ministry. There should be an accounting officer who is a permanent secretary, who is then a professional to deliver. The cabinet secretary must be able to bring on board and a blend with the needs of the people. Remember, we are not leading animals. We are not leading forests. We are leading humans.
I'm still trying to understand why you think the current ministers are not leading these humans you're talking about, and they are Kenyans. What makes parliamentarians different?
Let me tell you.
For example, Honorable Isaac Ruto, for example, the projects that they're supposed to deliver on have already been deliberated in Parliament.
Look at even
so they know what's happening. Parliament has already projected the same. The cabinet secretaries are only just delivering.
Look at even the policies they come up with.
That have been approved by Parliament.
They have not even been approved by Parliament. Some of them are just coming up with policies no one knows where they got them from. And let me tell you, they don't even debate those things adequately, even if it is in cabinet. Let me tell you, the government, as of now, the only two people in government Kenyans can understand is the president and his deputy. The rest have no mandate.
What do you mean they have no mandate?
They have no mandate. They only have an appointment letter from President Uhuru.
These are your feelings. This is your opinion. There's no fact here when you say these people just stay in Muthaiga, they don't go to the village. And they go out, and we see them go out to deliver on the government's mandate.
Yeah,
of course, you're entitled to your...
You are also entitled to yours.
Exactly.
Yes.
To your opinion.
Yes.
But again, I'm still yet to convince why you think only MPs are the humans that can do the job of the cabinet secretary.
You see, even if we made them half-half, that would even make sense. Some of the policies they are coming up with, if you challenge me, I'll show you.
For example, you've talked about, for example, if these cabinet secretaries, they'll be brought before Parliament and asked questions.
Yes.
Which is a work that is being done by committees of Parliament. So.
Committees of Parliament?
Yeah.
Where?
They are doing that job. Exactly.
Those ministers should be brought to account every Thursday so that they are in sync with the public opinion.
Okay, but again, committees of Parliament do this work, and we see from time to time they are called before parliamentary committees and asked these questions. Anyway, as I said, that is your opinion.
Yes.
You've had SMSs and tweets of people saying, are you supporting the Punguza Mzigo initiative?
The Punguza Mzigo initiative has certain aspects that are supportable, but there are a number of issues, and I've told Ekuro that I don't support, for example, the reduction of constituencies. I also don't support a situation in which you are trying to remove more women from participating in governance. I believe that we need to allow the 50%. In fact, we ought to allow women 50% role, because they are 50-50. This world belongs to both men and women, and there is absolutely nothing to prove that women are poor performers. I believe we should all participate equally, and if because of our cultural past we have had a tendency to keep women out of offices, I think we need to correct that. Okay. It is incumbent on us, and you cannot bring a constitutional amendment to deny women the rights they have gotten. We've not even given them enough. You
are supporting the BBI, you say that?
Yes, I do.
Their work?
Yes.
Are you hoping that there'll be a referendum, or would you want a referendum yourself?
You see, the referendum will depend on the type of amendments they are coming up with. If we are amending the structure of governance...
To be what exactly? What would you
for
prefer?
example, if we are going to parliamentary system of government, maybe we may need to do some constitutional amendments. If we are doing... There are certain things that are set aside by the constitution that you cannot pass them in parliament unless you go through a constitution, a referendum. So it will depend on the raft of the proposals they are bringing forth.
What would you want to see? What structure of governance would you want to see?
I would want to see a structure of governance in which political parties... parliamentary political parties should participate in governance. From those particular political parties giving, if they are in a coalition, they should give ministers, and they should come from parliament, as far as I'm concerned. Another thing that I would like to see more is...
Political party leaders.
Political party leaders, for example, there is no opposition now. There is no opposition right now in parliament.
Yeah.
There is no opposition because we made a mistake. Like, for example, Raila Odinga should be the leader of opposition in parliament. You cannot drive a bus by standing outside and pretending to drive it.
That's one way of looking.
That is why his MPs.
That's one way of looking at it, Honorable.
That is why his MPs.
Are you saying we don't have an opposition because the leader of opposition is not in parliament?
He's not.
Or is it because of the handshake?
No, I think first of all, where is Mudavadi? It should be in parliament.
Did we have an opposition between 2013 and 2017? We had an opposition.
Yes, and
it was very vibrant. You can't compare it to now.
That should be the way.
And it was the same case. He was not in parliament.
That should be the way. We should have them in parliament. Those who contest for presidency, look at where is Martha Karua? Where Akina Kalonzo Musyoka? Where is Musalia Mudavadi? Where is even Raila Odinga? He's outside. He's in Egypt. What are we talking about?
They should be in parliament.
They should be in parliament so that they can keep government in check, and they can provide the alternative leadership.
They should be in government.
They should be in parliament,
not government.
Not in government.
Okay.
The official leader of opposition in parliament currently, you know, they become very weak.
It's the minority leader.
The minority leader.
Yeah.
They are very weak because first of all, they have no political base of their own. So a lot of MPs are prone to being poached in parliament. That is why you find all these scandals. All MPs, a lot of MPs now have become sycophants.
But again, it can boil down to strategy. You can be a minority, and if you have the good strategy, you can still do your work.
But a minority leader appointed by someone who is outside parliament. So what does that make sense?
As I say, okay.
We want to see those fellows in parliament.
You're a party leader, for example, CCM, isn't it? Chama cha mashinani.
Yes. But I contested governor.
Yes.
So I cannot be
in parliament.
I cannot be in parliament. But you see, we should allow presidential candidates to contest for both seats.
Okay. All right.
Kibaki became president because he was in parliament throughout.
Very interesting proposals you have.
Yes.
For amendments to the constitution. Back to my earlier question now as you go to the BBI, because you said you supported it. You did not answer that question.
I do.
You said there's no referendum. No, you said you support BBI.
I support.
But you said you cannot talk because there's no referendum. But again, I said there was a story that talked about you being appointment for Raila Odinga when it comes to this, supporting the work of BBI and referendum. Is there such a thing?
I have never been anybody's point man. The only thing is, if the issues I'm pursuing converge with yours, there is absolutely no reason why we can't talk together. There is absolutely those who will support devolved units to have more allocation of resources. I will be with them. It does not matter who they are, and as long as they are Kenyans, even if they are not Kenyans, I'm still with them. You look at what they do in South Africa, what they do in West Africa. They are not Kenyans, and I'm in agreement with that.
Okay, we saw recently, and we have those pictures, I believe. I think this was last week when you and other South Rift leaders had a visit at Raila Odinga's offices, and you were with the Honorable Raila Odinga. And of course, the country and politics and many people draw inferences and what exactly it meant, whether you're working with him or not.
We were not there on political issues. We went to discuss with him like you saw us discussing with Gideon Moy. And we'll be discussing with others. We have got a pressing issue in the South Rift, the question of evictions in Mau. That is a very serious threat.
There was actually a tweet to that effect that said you went there to say the Mau, to talk to Raila, to plead with him that Mau evictions should be stopped.
We would like him to understand, and we would like every other Kenyan to understand that, for example, there is a lot of misinformation about the Mau question. The Mau forest complex has 22 blocks. 21 blocks are national government forest gazetted. Number 22 is pure trust land for settlement. That is where the people we are talking about live. They don't live in a national government forest. In the national government forest, which is 21 blocks, is under KFS. Number 22 is not under KFS. It is not even under the national government. It is Narok County Council from the beginning, and then Narok County government. And that is land for held in trust for settlement.
All these people, you're saying,
yes,
all of them stay there?
Yes. They are outside.
You are sure that there's no person living in government?
No one is living in government forest.
How sure are you?
I bring you the maps. Would you like to see the maps?
So it's not about
I'll
maps.
bring them.
I'll you know where all these people live, and there's nobody was encroaching the forest.
No. These people have not encouraged any forest. They are simply in block number 22, which is not part of the national government forest. Unless Tobiko can show us a new gazette notice where he has gazetted and taken that land back to national government. If he hasn't done that, he's simply practicing impunity.
Okay, because they have their reasons to doing this. I don't know
what reason.
I don't know what kind of information or tentacles you have to know that all people live just there, and there's no one who has encroached the forest.
If there is any criminal right inside the forest, you can deal with that. Go and flash him out. But can you tell me that 60,000 people are in the forest? Can you tell me that national government, whichever it was, issued title deeds to 60,000 people who are in a forest? How would a title deed get out of the Ministry of Lands? How would the DC sign if it is national government forest, without a gazette notice. That land has never been gazetted. It has never been gazetted in the first place. It is simply trust land. It is wooded trust land.
All right. We'll see how the government handles this. Of course, you've always been very, very agitated on this issue of Mau forest evictions ever since 2000 and even before 2013. I remember when you actually walked out of the Orange Democratic Movement Party, when Raila Odinga was then Prime Minister, and he was pushing forward with these evictions.
Then
what did he tell you? Did he tell
then
you?
We disagreed
you disagree. So did you disagree the other time?
When?
Last week when you met?
No, we went to bring these issues to his no.
So did he
we
agree?
Also took the same information to the chairman of KANU, and we are also going to talk to others in government. What we are simply saying is, let there be a discussion on this issue. Can we understand one another? Where is the problem? And who caused it?
I remember.
And then the only message we are putting across is, don't continue killing our children.
I remember.
Don't kill our mothers. That's what we are saying. Don't kill our people.
Again, I'll ask you, you can respond with the next question.
Yes.
What Odinga said, Honorable Odinga, after he told him this. Because I remember at the height of this, I was covering that. I was with you, actually, back then at Kip Kongor.
Yes, I remember you were just a small kid.
Yeah.
Yes, but you have now grown.
I remember covering that story. And I remember the height of it, Honorable Raila Odinga once said that Honorable Isack Ruto bought massive land from locals and cheated them into buying Mau, and they are suffering because of him.
Yes.
I remember when you're actually asking where are they, all these people, how are they living, were they standing? I remember very well.
Yes, I live in a very small land.
This is the same person you're going now to tell him to plead with, so that this doesn't happen. And he accused you of that.
And why not? There are so many things that we keep saying, and the world must go on. Even we disagree with you yesterday, doesn't mean we'll disagree with you today.
It's a grave accusation.
It's never permanent.
It's a grave accusation.
That was a mistake, because that was just, I think that was politicking, because I have no such land. By the way, I don't have even a single inch in Mau.
You talked about, so the Honorable Odinga said he'll support you, or what did he say?
No, we discussed, and that is enough.
He said nothing.
We discussed. I have not even told you what we also discussed with Gideon Moi.
I was coming to that.
And we are also going to discuss with others tomorrow.
Okay, but I was coming to Honorable Gideon Moi, again a person that, this is actually the last time we saw you with him publicly, was when you talked about these amendments you'd want in the Constitution.
Yes.
And of course it has raised eyebrows. And people asking whether you are warming up to him or KANU.
Let me tell you, I was there as the leader of Chama Cha Mashinani.
Yes.
I was with the vice chairman of Chama Cha Mashinani, and I was with the secretary general of Chama Cha Mashinani. We went there as Chama Cha Mashinani. We were half-half. There was KANU and there was Chama Cha Mashinani.
Okay.
So if Chama Cha Mashinani goes to meet with KANU, Chama Cha Mashinani hasn't gone into KANU, unless probably even KANU has come into Chama Cha Mashinani. When Chama Cha Mashinani goes to see the leader of ODM, it doesn't mean Chama Cha Mashinani has gone into ODM. Maybe ODM has even come into...
So what was the agenda? What were you seeing him about?
We were discussing basically right now what is disturbing us is the imminent threat on 60,000 people when we are just facing examination. They want our children out of school. They want to burn their houses. Last time we were there, children were cutting... they just come and touch your children and tell you, look at them, they are burning my house, my home.
Does this have anything to do with politics and moving forward? That's what I'm asking. When you met Raila Odinga, and especially when you met Honorable Gideon Moi.
Let me tell you, first of all, Isack Ruto has clearly indicated that he will not participate in politicking now until 2022. And that is public knowledge. And I don't think you found me discussing politics. There is only an imminent threat on the people.
No, you have said, for example, I think some months ago, that CCM will play a key role
in 2022.
Yes. So you have discussed politics.
And it is not 2022 right now?
Yeah, I mean, in the run-up, that's what you say.
Let me tell you,
they'll play a
I am in agreement
role
right now with Uhuru Kenyatta that Kenyans need development. We cannot be politicking from day one after the elections up to the 5th year. When will these ones whom we've given the seats, whether they won it or whether they were elected or selected, since they are on the seat, can they deliver the seats, the goods to Kenyans? I want to find medicine in my dispensary. Okay. And I have given the county government an opportunity to do their job. I have given the MPs the opportunity to do their job. And I'm in agreement with Uhuru Kenyatta Let his government finish their term.
Okay, you keep saying you were in agreement with President Uhuru Kenyatta. You're taking a short break now. You've talked about, and you have agreed that you've met Honorable Raila Odinga and you've met Honorable Gideon Moi, and you're saying you're in agreement with Uhuru Kenyatta. One person whose company we haven't seen you keeping mostly, at least publicly, is Deputy President William Ruto. And we'll talk about him.
Yeah?
We'll talk about that and more, plus all the tweets that you saw. After this break, keep texting us 22422 on Twitter. Use the hashtag Newsnight. We're back with Honorable Isack Ruto after this break. All right, we're back with the Chama cha Mashinani party leader, Isack Ruto. Of course, he's a former Bomet governor and he's also the former chair of the Council of Governors. Keep texting us 22422 SMS number. On Twitter is the hashtag Newsnight. We are talking about the company you've been keeping lately and the eyebrows it's raised. Of course, you're saying there's no politics or anything that has been talked about when you meet all these people. And then I asked you, this one person we haven't been seeing you keep company off mostly, that is Deputy President William Ruto. And as you answer that, Hurricane Josh on Twitter says, is he supporting the Deputy President for 2022 presidential candidate? Is he, that is you, comfortable with William Ruto taking over from Uhuru Kenyatta? Of course, he goes on to say, yeah, kwa mpunguza mzigo ama BBI. But of course, on the issue of Deputy President, and he's not the only one, plus many more, including this person I met today, just actually out of our office, outside our office. His name is Sal. He just told me to tell you, ni kijana ya Chelengech. I don't know if you know him. From Southset village in Kembu location.
Yes, I know.
You know him, yeah? Know. He told me to ask you the same thing. Are you supporting Deputy President William Ruto in 2022? Because he said he's fine for presidency.
2022 is still about 3 years to go. And we are yet to meet with William Ruto to discuss his ambitions. And I'm sure he will want to persuade me. And I'll have a few questions to ask and maybe suggestions on what the grounds upon which I would be able to support him. For example, Chama cha Mashinani will have to be approached as a political party. He has to agree that Chama cha Mashinani is a political party like any other political party. And anyone who wishes to get Chama cha Mashinani to support him or her will have to look at the policies of Chama cha Mashinani and his policies. And that is not the only presidential candidate. All the other presidential candidates will do the same. So we will look at these issues. We are simply not giving support on the basis of individual names. Political parties are based on positions of policy.
But I thought you were supporting the Jubilee Party as CCM.
When?
The last time we
were with NASA.
You were yes. CCM, then you were with NASA.
We supported NASA.
Then immediately after you went back to saying you're supporting Jubilee.
After that, I didn't say we are supporting Jubilee. We said we want to let Kenyans settle and do development. That we are not going to contest. We are not going to.
I don't know if we have that clip.
We did not reject. Jubilee's ascendancy to government after 2017. We decided that notwithstanding the follies, I mean the problems that were in the elections, we needed peace.
That soundbite?
Last time we rejected elections, there was bloodshed. All
right, let's listen what we said. This was in Kapkatet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Niliketi na Isack na tukakubaliana ya kwamba hii siasa ya pesa nane tuachane naye. Na asante sana Isack kwa kukubali na nakushukuru sana ndugu yangu.
I didn't put on Jubilee.
The colors, you mean?
Yes.
No, but I was actually looking for the soundbite where you spoke yourself and you said you're supporting them now to finish their term.
We agreed with what Uhuru has just said. That's what we agreed with Uhuru.
Did you say you're going to, I mean, it's there. We can go back to the records. You said you're supporting them to finish their term.
Yes.
Meaning you went there as CCM, isn't it? Not
no,
as Isack
we
Ruto.
said, when we say we support, you remember that even opposition is loyal opposition. We are not subversive. We are saying Jubilee to now go ahead and implement their agenda, and that we are not going to become an impediment, and we are not going to reject elections outright so that we cause bloodshed like happened in 2007. We want peace for this country, and we are saying there should be no politicking for 5 years.
Yeah, but this is different. And
what's different?
Let me come to it. This is why it was interesting. This was before the repeat election.
Yes.
Just weeks before you were in NASA.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
NASA contested the election. The election was annulled.
Yes.
It was announced that there will be a fresh election.
Yes.
Before that fresh election happened, you were with Jubilee now. It's not with NASA.
Let me tell you.
So that means you moved from NASA
just
to Jubilee.
after the elections, I was in NASA. And remember,
the one that was announced,
inside there, we were discussing.
Yeah.
We were discussing. And there was a view in NASA that we must reject the elections in total.
Yeah.
That is why they were swearing in an alternative president at Uhuru Park. I told them, no, I don't want to be a party to a situation that will lead to a bloodshed in this country. I have seen it before in 2007. I don't want anybody to die because Isack Ruto rejected the elections. However faulty the elections
But you had believed, at that time you believed in NASA?
I believed in
definitely.
Yes, yes.
And you were not happy with, and you said it before in the campaign.
Wasn't happy.
You're not happy with Jubilee and the
I wasn't even happy with the way they carried out the elections, the way they interfered with the elections.
For the repeat election? How come you just decamped for that repeat election?
No. The point was, I was not going to be a party to. Inside NASA, we had even rejected going to court. Then I told them, no, then that is not right. Let us use the institutions that exist. And I simply wanted us to let Kenyans settle and go into development and relax. Remember, we lost one baby Pendo and another one in Kisumu. I told them, no, I don't want blood in my hands. Let there be no killings.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's allow Jubilee to proceed. We believe the future will be better as long as we have peace in this country. Because if we push our country to bloodshed, then we'll have no country even to lead.
Okay.
Whoever has won, let us proceed to settle. And that is why I'm in agreement with Uhuru Kenyatta from that day.
Okay.
That let him continue with his 5 years. And let there be no politicking in between here, because I would be the first one to do politicking. But I haven't done that. Okay. I'm surprised that Jubilee...
I want to move on from this,
yes.
But you haven't answered my question.
Right.
You have said very clearly that you wanted to prevent bloodshed.
Yes.
There was no cause for bloodshed at that time because the Supreme Court had annulled the presidential result.
Let me tell you.
Let me just finish my question.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you were still with NASA at that point.
Yes.
Why didn't you wait for the repeat election? Why did you move to Jubilee again just before the repeat election? Weeks before it.
Remember, even NASA...
If you really believed in NASA and were not happy with Jubilee.
Remember, even NASA did not contest that election. They did not participate.
That's fine. You did not wait for that.
They rejected everything in total. At that time, the discussion in NASA, in which I was in, was total rejection of the elections and possibly dividing the country into two. Have you forgotten? It was everywhere. The discussion was, there is no hope in going into any other election. Jubilee will still steal the election. So what do? We divide the country into two. Is that what you wanted me to support?
To boycott the election.
Is that what you wanted me to support?
Because you are at liberty to decide whatever you want to support.
I wasn't going to support.
Okay. We have Okelo Dennis 11 on Twitter said, Governor, I love and respect, making reference to this. Governor, I love and respect you deeply as a man who does not waver, but can you explain to me this one surprise to me? You immediately chickened out from the Pentagon. Of course, he means NASA team, that is principles, and even did not support the rerun.
Yes.
Can I buy your viewpoint on the Constitution then? He didn't see you as principled at that time when you decided
what
just
were the
to quit.
issues? I have made it very clear here that the discussion inside NASA was total rejection of the elections, total rejection of going to court. The other thing was dividing this country into two.
Okay.
Is this new to him? I definitely refused the division of this country into two. I refused a path that was going to lead to bloodshed.
Okay.
And I will still reject such a thing even in future.
All right. But then you supported Jubilee. That's fine.
Yeah.
So,
and you should remember,
is your support, yeah.
Remember that even Musalia Mudavadi and Kalonzo Musyoka did not come to Uhuru Park for the swearing in of an alternative president.
Yeah. It's an interesting issue, that issue about swearing in.
Yes.
Everybody says a different thing. I've hosted all of them and all say a different thing.
No.
It's very interesting. Someday I hope somebody will make it clear. But either way, be that as it may, how would you describe then your relationship with the deputy president? Because if now you decided to support the Jubilee Party, does that also mean there are plans for succession?
William Ruto is a good old friend. We joined together Parliament in 1997. We have worked together through the terrains in Parliament. You've seen me join up with him. In 2013, we were together in URP when URP was busy pushing for devolution and other issues in the Constitution.
Yeah.
In fact, I was the main fellow dealing with constitutional issues in URP. When they opted to disband URP and become completely immersed in centralized management of this republic, I opted to say no. I still believe that devolution is the answer to the poverty in this country, and that is why myself and my friends, we formed Chama cha Mashinani, and our policies are basically to remove the poverty at the local level.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting.
And we remain at that.
I had asked you your relationship with the deputy president.
Yes, I have made it very clear that we've worked with him.
So in your meetings, these meetings that you're having as CCM,
yes,
because you've met the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, over the issue of Mau.
Yes.
Yet he's not in government, is he?
Yes.
No.
Are you sure he's not in government?
I don't know. I know what is there publicly.
Right.
Okay. What we know publicly is that he's not in government.
Okay.
Or how, as far as
whether he's in government
the
or
laws of the land go, whether he's in government or not, I don't know. But I'm just saying, as far as the law of the land go, he's not in government.
Yes.
Because we have a president and the deputy president and cabinet secretaries and all that, and that forms a government.
Yes.
So my question is, if you met the Prime Minister or former Prime Minister about Mau, you met Honorable Gideon Moi about this issue. Yes. Haven't you seen it fit to meet the president or the deputy about it?
We had met the deputy president sometimes early in the year, myself and some members of Chama cha Mashinani, and this is one of the issues we discussed at that time. And we still intend to see him in the course of these coming weeks. We also intend to see the president. We intend to see the president, and we also intend to see the other leaders, including we intend to have a talk with the Maasai leaders, because we believe that these matters can be sorted out through discussion, not talking at one another or grandstanding or brewing other issues that could create problems for this country. So we will discuss with all the leaders around. In fact, I remember asking the government when I was Governor Bomet that this matter can be sorted out between the governors of Kericho, Bomet, Nakuru, and Narok, and then Office of the President and the Ministry of Environment. If there is land that was wrongly allocated, which is of environmental concern, we can do the normal thing, compulsory acquisition of that land. But you cannot rubbish the fact that the previous governments actually allocated land to these people. The County Council of Narok allocated land to all these people. This was just simply 5 group ranches. And I want to make a correction there. I saw in, I think, below on your TV that I've said there are 21 blocks. There are 22 blocks. 21 blocks are gazetted government forest. 1 block is not. And that is the block where people have settled in. That is trust land for Narok County Council.
All right. I'm sure you've been following the happenings in government.
Yes.
The one that you supported to finish the term.
Yes.
Okay. The Jubilee government. You have worked with 3 presidents in different capacities, including President Moi, President Kibaki, and President Kenyatta.
Yes.
From your experience in government and in politics, what would you make of the relationship between the president and the deputy, especially the differences or different points they have on certain issues?
The different positions they are taking, I think, is normal. No 2 politicians can be identical.
A president and a deputy.
The president and the deputy can never be. They cannot have
positions on matters.
Identical positions unless they are not politicians, and especially if the deputy president is a running mate on the basis of his political position. So he doesn't have to have identical views with his boss. There is there is no guarantee that that
so
will
you
happen.
don't see any problem?
I see
this
no
is
problem.
Normal.
The only thing is people are seeing it as if it is a big issue now, simply because these are deputy president. The previous ones were vice presidents, appointees of the then sitting president, and he was appointing for purposes of loyalty, not for purposes of politics, of bringing forth the votes. And remember, these are 2 political parties that fused together, so it can still part ways. They can still part ways. This one is just like a coalition, like it was before.
And many have talked about
that. Coalitions.
Yeah,
so we should have a coalition. That is why I'm saying that if it was a parliamentary system of government, we would have 2 clear political parties operating together on a coalition, and it can be dissolved midstream. if they find it cannot proceed or they cannot consummate the relationship. If this was a parliamentary system of government, and if the president and the deputy find they cannot proceed, they should simply part ways and let parliament elect a fresh leadership.
You remember the tweet we talked about initially when somebody here asked, before we even say anything,
yes,
tell us whether you are in Team Kieleweki or Team Tanga Tanga. And as you answer him, I mean, there are clear divisions in the Jubilee Party, because the party leadership says they are one. But there are divisions in the Jubilee Party,
yes,
based on what their MPs have been saying. For the last 3 presidential elections, the winning party has never gone to contest the presidency again.
Yes.
Like the party again to be in the presidential ballot. Do you think Jubilee is going to hold it the way it is until 2022 as a party?
No, I don't think so. And the sooner they disintegrate, the better. Chama cha mashinani can take over.
Yeah, well,
I had a political party that should be in those seats. Why should Jubilee continue? They shouldn't. They should simply disband and go home. Say goodbye.
This party that you supported to finish their term, now you want them to disintegrate?
No, if they find they can't proceed, they have no business continuing. Let me tell you. And that is the essence of politics.
No, but
and that's why I support a parliamentary system of government.
Yeah.
If we had an executive prime minister and his deputy and they can't agree, parliament should vote them out, get a fresh team and proceed, but not subject Kenyans to the agony of listening to people who don't agree.
In your opinion, you're saying Jubilee should disintegrate?
Yes.
Because of what is happening now?
Why not?
They should disintegrate?
Yes. They should dissolve.
Because you think, why? I mean, why are you saying that? Because
if they find they can't proceed together, if they find they can't push on the agenda that they told us,
do you think they are doing it? Are they successful so far?
They think they are doing it this way. By disagreeing, they are also doing it right. Is that what they believe in? They need to tell us whether they are going to deliver on the agenda they gave to Kenyans in the last elections. If they don't, Jubilee has no business contesting elections in 2022. There should be fresh configurations for 2022. Otherwise, what Kenyans expect is proper service delivery. And then remember, there are problems that we are facing now. There is no money in circulation, simply because we are not able to ensure that even when we give the Chinese a contract, they are able to subcontract. Look at the dam in, I think in Ukambani, where they have given a Chinese contractor, and 9 subcontractors are Chinese, not even one local one. So how will you get money circulating in the country? You only find maybe the drivers and maybe the policemen along the road who stop the car might get a few coins from the Chinese. Otherwise, there's nothing else. There is no money in circulation in Kenya because we give a whole dam to a Chinese company, and it's subcontracted to all the 9 of them.
Kabando on Twitter, as you wind up, says, Isack Ruto was in parliamentary select committee that midwifed Katiba, is a brilliant legislator, bold, knows it is ripe to review if those his progressive views are to materialize. So he's happy with your views.
Thank you.
Thus far. We also have Honorable Oscar Sudi on Twitter, who says, I know Isack Ruto has joined hands together with Raila Odinga to evict people from Mau Forest with the aim of antagonizing people of Rift Valley against William Ruto. How would you respond to him? Yeah.
Sudi, doesn't he have anything else to tell Kenyans other than the total lies he keeps spewing every weekend? That everything is system in terms of William Ruto, and I don't know what, everything is William Ruto. We are free to discuss and talk with anybody nationally and even outside this country. But obviously, I have not joined with Raila on anything. No, Raila hasn't said anything. I only want to discuss the question of Mau. And Sudi has said nothing about the evictions in Mau.
You are very close to Deputy President William Ruto.
Yes.
What happened between you two? What do you think? What created the wedge between you two?
I don't think that is a matter to be discussed on national television. I'm sure I wouldn't mind looking at that when we meet for a cup of tea, Hussein.
Would you allow me to tell
in
Kenyans
one of the offices that you have? I bet you must be a shareholder in this Citizen.
Shareholder?
Yes, because you are doing so well for Citizen.
Thank you, Honorable Isack Ruto. Finally, this question, are you planning to make a comeback in Bomet County?
But I have just finished 2 minutes ago. I indicated that politics will wait for 2022 and 2021. probably late 2021, I will tell the people of Bomet what my interest is.
So right now, you're not thinking about the seat
for
at all?
now, right now, I'm even supporting the new governor. I supported the other governor up to the end. I gave her my total support. I attended the swearing in, and I told her I will not interfere with you. And we were on talking terms. She kept calling me, even when she was unwell in the UK. And I went to see her in India. And I've always assisted them because I want them to deliver to the people of Bomet. I'm one of the residents in Bomet. So even the new governor, I expect him to perform. I want to find medicine in my local dispensary. So I'm not going to create any situation that makes them lose their sleep. I would like them to proceed and do the job. I will tell them my political intentions in 2021. But one thing that is clear is that Chama Mashinani is here, and they will be seeing it, and we will be recruiting, and we will be going around selling our policies.
Working with any other party? And
we will work with any political party that has similar views, that are pro-people. We want that.
All right. Honorable Isack Ruto is the party leader of Chama Mashinani, is the former Bomet governor, and a former Council of Governors chair. Very, very interesting. He's also an ex-minister, of course, and former MP. But thank you so much for making time for us. Very interesting, as always, to have you in studio.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Honorable Isack Ruto, and we're hoping to host you in the coming days.
I'm around.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Honorable Isack Ruto.